Welcome in, Jake West, Brandon Stevens. This is Inside the SMC, presented by Team FYN Sports. Brandon, we're headed into week 3, and week 2 seemed like it was a lot kinder to the conference in general.
Yeah, we were talking about who's going to have a good breakout game, what's going to happen. Depending on how you look at it, Robbinsville tops on my list there. You got to give me more Cutler Adams out of that bunch. I mean, a few more things that probably need to complement that team to just make it totally like a dominating Robbinsville Black Knight team. And of course, they're doing it now. Good game with Brevard like that. Then, just a little wonky with the Swain County game. Never could get some things moving. We'll talk about that one, but I think really, even though they lost Cherokee, when you're playing a good team like Franklin, what happened there? So either mistakes on the Franklin side, or they still haven't opened up with Chase Calhoun. I want to see something there. But to me, that's kind of a breakout game of sorts. So when you play Franklin as tough as you did there, and then Andrews continues to dominate. Isaac Weaver has a pick six for 99 yards. So there's some breakout themes here, depending on maybe not necessarily somebody coming in and getting a 70-0 win over somebody, but I'm thinking we're beginning to see a lot more shape with certain teams. And of course, Murphy scratching by with a 1-point win, but that one showing some true grit, I think, as I stated this week, with specifically with defense. But they needed to wake up and come into this game, and I think that's exactly what they did. Got a little kick in the keister maybe at halftime, and it did the trick. Whatever the coaches did at halftime there, but ready to go whenever you. Let's break all these things down. I like starting out with the Bulldogs because they're open this week.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Let's stay with the Bulldogs, and like you mentioned, I think that was a season saver for the Bulldogs. I mean, this team is young. Yeah. I think if they start out 0-2, especially with just the damper that Franklin game put on them, if they start out 0-2, I'm not sure that they bounce back from that completely and totally. But, man, what a corner they turned on Friday night against a very good Commerce team.
Well, number one, I want to say, for talking heads like you and me or anybody else who does analysis, I don't know if you could really come up with a right prediction for this football game, because if everything was said and done properly according to what came out in print and all the things that were analyzed and put into the air, Murphy should have lost that game. And I think the way it was going, both teams were having so much trouble at the beginning. Scoreless till the last 40 seconds of the first half in the second quarter, but some missed opportunities. Murphy on its horse moving down with Ty Laney, a fumble. There would have been 7 points probably there. 47-yard pass play that was called back on the Tigers of Commerce. So really, it was an ugly first half. Both teams just not performing well. Both defenses trying to find some way to contain the John Ledfords and the Ty Laneys and the Hunter Stalkups. And then on the other side, Daniels and Wiggins from Commerce, they're just grease lightning fast. So something had to change, but really there was not a big adjustment that came into that second half. It was just, hey guys, do what you're supposed to do in the first half and do it in the second half, but do it with a little more grip, because time is of the essence, and both doing run plays, melting the clock. I have to say hats off to whether that call for a 2-point conversion and the first score, 4.5 minutes in the second half. That was big. It was huge. Run Ty Laney for a 2-point conversion. I think that saved the game in a lot of places. Of course, then it didn't hurt that you had really good defense. They were coming. Cadence Leatherwood was firing off the ball, doing really well. He was into the backfield. Then, if he didn't get you or was on your back, then Ty Laney and Mason Thrasher and a couple others across the middle, they were kicking your can. I mean, but then I think really the Tigers were on a move, and defense again stopped them on a crucial fourth down conversion, and that was probably the dagger right there because we were able to melt down the clock after the final Hunter Stalkup 1 yard run, which was again predicated on some good movement of the ball. Both these teams moved the ball well, so that should tell you that Murphy can play in a league of giants. It just depends on if they want to show up, if
Yeah.
the defense wants to be put out and that sort of thing. And but talking with the guys yesterday, they've got the spirit. They're not going to. They know that they have that ability. And moving forward, when they go to play South Pittsburgh next week, they have an open date this week, but next week that one's going to be a tough matchup. We can talk more about it, but South Pittsburgh has always been tough, but a little bit younger. Like to probably pass a little bit more. There's a freshman and a sophomore in the backfield, but hey, man, they're still tough.
All right, let's shift gears and let's talk about another close game on Friday night as Hayesville just squeaked by Georgia Force 21-14.
Mm-hmm. I thought probably Hayesville would probably run away with this game, but
Yeah.
once again, Georgia Force exercising its prowess there and moving on up. So in that one, I'm looking for some things to not necessarily come central around Logan, but to see how we can start exercising the Jackets and moving them up the field. This one to me is a little tough for the Jackets.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I thought they were going to come away with a 3-score victory in this one, but barely squeaked it out just like last year. But when you look at the stats, Hayesville played a great game on offense. Logan Caldwell, 13 for 20, 158 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Kyle Lunsford and Taylor McClure were just 2 hosses on the ground. Lunsford ran the ball 14 times for 121 yards and a score. Even broke one off for, I think, 50 yards. And then Taylor McClure, who's kind of their do-it-all Swiss Army knife, he 20 carries for 100 yards. So, you're getting 100 yards, 150 yards through the air, and then I think they had 290 yards total on the ground. So it just offense wasn't leading to points. And I think the Asheville Citizen-Times alluded to last week's game being the first game Hayesville won under Chad McClure that they hadn't scored 21 points. So obviously points in the past has not been a struggle for Hayesville to come by. It's been their defense, but it seems like it may be a different story here because their defense has stood tall 2 weeks in a row. And Taylor McClure, Avery Leatherwood, Kyle Lunsford, those guys playing both ways. They're playing really good football defensively right now. They just got to find the end zone.
The other, now you know a little more about the Georgia teams than I do, but North Georgia, how is this team? Because for an opportunity for a first time in a good while, Hayesville has a chance to be 3-0.
Yeah, here's some highlights from the Georgia Force game last week. Sorry, I meant to play those earlier. Hayesville didn't post theirs, so this is only Georgia Force highlights, but nonetheless, you can see just by looking at these highlights that Georgia Force had some pretty big kids to be a homeschool team. So they definitely held their own against Hayesville. But this week coming up against North Georgia, I think that's going to be in the 3-score win category for the Yellow Jackets. Maybe more so like we thought this game would go. But Georgia Force, they were able to move the ball on Hayesville. So I know we talked about Hayesville's defense not giving up a lot of points, but they gave up some big plays, as you can see in these highlights. So it's just going to be interesting to see how this Hayesville team develops heading down the road. But next week, another nice tune-up game for the Yellow Jackets. Coach McClure, I talked to him in the preseason, did a preseason interview with him. He said a lot of the things Coach James Phillips said about Andrews. They scheduled kind of these quote-unquote cupcake teams because it's just so hard when you don't have that many kids coming out to stay healthy for 10 full game season. So I think next week, another nice tune-up game for Hayesville as they take on the North Georgia Falcons at uh, North Georgia as they go on the road for this one. But I mean, not much else you can say besides Hayesville's just got to find pay dirt. They've got to get the end zone. They're putting up the yards. They're putting up the stats. Just got to punch it in.
Well, just looking at those highlights, Jake, I'd have to say that Georgia force is not the same force we saw a few years ago. I think
Yep.
various teams have been down there to play them, ranging from Murphy to Swain to anybody else who's had an opportunity to take on this team. And most often you think of these teams as like the disorganized homeschoolers who want to play football, but you can tell that they've been practicing, and
Yeah.
they're more cohesive. And man, those are some crisp big plays. And you look there too. Maybe Hayesville. Someone could argue and say, well, maybe Hayesville needed to tighten up its defensive secondary because one or two passes there, man left wide open. But then there were a couple there where Hayesville's right on top of the guy, and Georgia Force burns you. So no, this was not your as most armchair quarterbacks in Western North Carolina will sit and say, this is a cupcake team. Well, generally you think that, and we'll play tough on them and beat them by a large score. But that looked like a very impressive, well disciplined football team that was there to play ball.
Yeah, I agree. And I think all in all, if you're Hayesville, you squeaked out 2 wins. But this past week, like you said, that's a very good football team that took the field. I think they were homeschool national champs 2 years ago. So I don't think it's time to hit the panic button yet in Clay County. Obviously, you're 2-0. You might not like how you struggled to get to that point, but I think you regroup here this week heading against North Georgia Falcons, and you try to lay it on them so that you can shut everybody up. But, Brandon, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about Robbinsville and Brevard.
Okie doke.
B&M Metals has been serving the Southeast for almost 50 years. From metal roofs and panels to gutters and metal accessories, B&M Metals is your one-stop shop for all things metal. They pride themselves on providing great service and quality at a competitive price. Give B&M Metals a call at 706-864-6068 or visit them at 6195 Highway 52 East in Murrayville or at bmmetalroofing.com. B&M Metals, protecting everything that matters to you most.
Taking a road trip is about having fun. Installing only the finest CarQuest parts from Murphy Auto Parts keeps you in the fun zone. Come by and visit our new location at 420 Peachtree Street in Murphy, where we're more than just a parts store. Trust your road trip to CarQuest Auto Parts from Murphy Auto Parts.
At Circuit World, we offer a wide selection of major appliances, name brands like Whirlpool, LG, Frigidaire, and more. Looking for furniture? Come by and browse our showroom or check out the Endless Aisle, a touchscreen kiosk with thousands of options. Need electronics, gaming computers, laptops, desktops, tablets? We have it all. OLED or QLED, 4K or high def. We have the selection to get you the TV of your dreams. And don't forget, at Circuit World, your credit is always good. So ask about our convenient payment options and 120 days, same as cash. Come see us today at one of our 5 area locations.
Are you looking for expertly decorated gifts you'll love with your custom design or logo? Graphic Expressions in Blue Ridge is your go-to place for custom apparel, accessories, gifts, and much more. Graphic Expressions is located at 3640 East 1st Street in Blue Ridge, or give them a call at 706-946-4605. Graphic Expressions, unrivaled customer service, pure brand awesomeness.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
North Georgia Metals has been serving the Southeast for over 40 years. From metal roofs and panels to gutters and metal accessories, North Georgia Metals is your one-stop shop for all things metal. Give the team at North Georgia Metals a call at 706-276-1633 or visit them at 15544 Highway 515 South in Ellijay or on the web at northgeorgiametals.com.
Welcome back, Jake West, Brandon Stevens. This is Inside the SMC, presented by Team FYN Sports. Just got done recapping Murphy's game last week against Commerce and Hayesville's game last week against Georgia Force, and then a little preview as Hayesville takes on the North Georgia Falcons. But, Brandon, let's talk a little bit about Robbinsville and Brevard. That was the Cutler Adams show all night at the Big Oaks on Friday.
I like that home football game, and I like your headline pretty much. Basically, Robbinsville pounds the Brevard Blue Devils. And historically, this has been a team that's just speed kills, size kills, and Cutler Adams does a good job here. And watch how he runs, just right through the hole. And the other thing too, offensive line, they did their job. And look at him go right into touchdown town. What a great run!
As you see here later on in the highlights, obviously Cutler had a big night, 200 yards, couple touchdowns. But also what was good to see from Robbinsville was the fact that Donovan Carpenter, their quarterback, third quarterback in 3 years, seems like he settled into his own, and he's going to be a weapon for the Black Knights going forward.
And that was one of the questions here is like, we've always seen some sort of really good seasoned quarterback with the Robbinsville Black Knights all the way back to I want to say like even Cassidy Galavies and into that era and on up, I'm beginning to forget names from back when, but good to see that he's taking his steps on the field or taking his place on the field.
Yeah, he hooked up with there's the
what a crunch.
Scoop and score from Jude Gamble. But I was going to say Carpenter, he hooked up with Caden O'Leil, I think, for a 71-yard bomb. Yeah, there it is, coming up on the screen. But 5 for 7 for Carpenter, back under center, 116 yards, 1 touchdown, which is this one right here. Cutler Adams, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. They had Campbell run the ball some. So just spreading the love and moving the ball around. Great showing.
You become afraid that you become a one-dimensional team because I think every week or what we talk about is the Cutler Adams show. And rightfully so. I mean, he's the man.
Yeah.
But there you want to see Carpenter exercise the pass. And the other thing that you and I talked about, and we talked about some with some Black Knight fans. Also, what's going to be really important for you is going to be the ability to do point after field goals.
Yep.
The special teams is going to be another element of this team. But hey, man, as long as you're putting up the points and you can do things like this with Brevard, maybe nobody cares, but somewhere down the stretch, I mean, you miss a Cody Klein that was in there last year. I mean, Cody Klein was the difference in that Murphy game, and that phrase was a chip shot for him. But but I think that's one of the other elements that you're going to need. But they're well on their way, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do with the Mountain Heritage game. This does not really for, I don't know who it's worse to talk about, with either the Black Knights or the Mountain Heritage Cougars, because I'd probably say that the advantage definitely has to go to the Black Knights. You go into Titletown there, and it's not going to be good for the Cougars.
Yeah, I agree. Mountain Heritage has taken a huge step back from what they were last year. And just looking at Massey ratings, Robbinsville 34, Mountain Heritage 20, and I don't even know if Mountain Heritage puts up that many points unless it's on the JV squad late in the fourth quarter. I think this is definitely a 3-score victory for the Black Knights on Friday night as they host Mountain Heritage.
I think it's easily that, because in my estimation, probably if you compared the teams, probably you're going to see, you saw a better team this past Friday night than what's coming up on this coming Friday night, in my opinion. So I think it couldn't be worse than that. And I think that this gives anybody from D. Walsh to Lucas Ford a chance to totally exercise the team, to work in some new schemes, or maybe even some new faces to give people a chance to get some end game. But I don't. If I were coming from Mountain Heritage, I'd hate to make this long trip, because there's no easy way to get to Burnsville down here anymore, even though they've got 4-lane highway, and then to see this one. But I'll side with the Robbinsville Black Knights on this one, and probably 21 is the spread, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Let's shift gears and go back to a close game on Friday night. 14-12, Franklin beat Cherokee, and that's something we both sided with Franklin, said Franklin was going to win, but not by 2 points, maybe by more than 2 scores.
Too many turnovers and that sort of thing at Cherokee. It was just Franklin trying to catch a greased pig in certain cases. but therein, one of the questions, and I hate to kind of say this, and I know somebody from Cherokee's going to come down here and burn my playhouse down, since I live in Cherokee. But I want to see Chase Calhoun, and I think that guy's big. He's tough, and he can run the ball and open that up. Zoe Smith doing a lot of work, but I think they're just a moment away, depending on what Cherokee team shows up in this one. Not so good in that first Smoky Mountain game, but of course, Smoky Mountain, we'll talk about this a little bit in just a moment when we break down Swain County. But I think that this was kind of a weird anomaly of Franklin, but they squeaked it out. But I think Cherokee was right there, and that was actually a larger Swain lead going through most of that game. Cherokee somewhere picked up the rope and almost finished the drill on Franklin.
One thing I was just going to point out is you lose this game by 2 points because of extra points, but they turned the ball over 4 times. Cherokee turned the ball over 4 times, 2 interceptions, 2 lost fumbles. You got to think, if you cut that down, you cut that in half, you win this football game.
What I think that is probably a little more telling in this game is that Cherokee's defense is tougher than what you think it is, and they were beginning to, from all the accounts I can kind of see, is that they were beginning to shut down Ty Handley and foiling a few more plans. And then you throw in a few turnovers and miscues. That's what I think that was very key in this football game.
Let's talk about who the Braves play on Friday night. It's a Battle of the Nations, I believe that's what it's dubbed, as they take on Choctaw County from Mississippi. Can you tell us a little bit about that one, Brandon? I think it's been being played maybe my whole lifetime.
So this one started, just a little bit of background. I won't go into it too much, but just a couple things that I think are just really kind of cool about this game. One, it started in 1991. In 1992. So this is like the 30th year. Maybe take a few breaks here for some other reasons, whether it's been pandemic or just something that just stopped the game. This one was bouncing back and forth. for a little while. It's had its course of runs. Choctaw takes the title for a few years in a row. Cherokee does it, but it's been the two chiefs that back in the day, Jonathan Ed Taylor and their longtime Choctaw chief. His name will come back to me in just a few moments. They decided to have a game between the two nations. And there are others where Cherokees wanted to get up with the Seminoles or to some other tribal nations, but this has been kind of cool. And the other thing I was telling you on the way back from Commerce is that sometimes Choctaw, specifically when they're not playing another team that's kind of close in, they can go out and audible because most all of the players speak Choctaw, so they can just speak Choctaw and change the scope of the game or yell out some plays there. But this one's always an interesting, fun one, and so it turns into a weekend festival almost because a lot of their people come here, we go there, and it's a big thing. But that's the background of it. How Choctaw is doing. That one's up in the air, but sometimes it's very evenly matched. Sometimes it's just breaks one way or another. I'd be scared to. I have not done the homework on this one as I should have.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the Choctaw team either. Obviously, as they're in uh, Philadelphia, Mississippi, I believe. But maybe Massey Ratings can give us a look into this one. And I just pulled it up. It says Choctaw Central 28, Cherokee 21. So close football game, just as you would assume from these two teams getting together. I think you told me, Brandon, it seems like maybe they're not always the closest of games, but they kind of bounce back and forth between the Braves just thumping the Warriors and then the Warriors just thumping the Braves. Kind of goes back and forth. So maybe Friday night we'll get a close game. But like I said, I haven't seen Choctaw play. But if Cherokee plays like they did Friday night against Franklin and they can cut down the turnovers, I'm going to ride with Cherokee in this one.
Well, in this last game, high scoring game, but it looks like from what I'm pulling up here, they played Union High School, which is obviously not like Georgia or in upstate South Carolina, but a local school that's out in Mississippi. And so it was Yellow Jackets 32, Warriors 22. So, either we had not a lot of defense, obviously, but and lots of scoring. But I'm trying to just real quickly check some of the recap and see where they ran off with this one. A little bit more passing from their Yellow Jacket counterparts, and they call themselves the Union Rebels. So anyhow, this one 10-point game. That's about all we can see, and they haven't exactly uploaded anything specific to their stats. Just give me 1 second and see if not yet. So anyhow, probably one. You're coming to Cherokee. There's always that advantage. It's 10 hours to get to Choctaw Central High School, and as you say, in Philadelphia, Mississippi. By the way, if you are a movie buff, that Meridian and Philadelphia, that was the central scene for Mississippi Burning. That gives you any historical context, but because from that movie, some of the evidence from that incident was found on the Choctaw Reservation. Just to tell you where that some of those things go, but that's also an interesting place to play too, because they've kept their stadium pretty much au natural, and that's this group is also a tough group of folks, because if you've watched Indian stickball, they have actually leagues, and that's almost a bigger sport than football and basketball and baseball and those types of things with this group. They're really traditional tribe.
Well, I would just throw this out there. If you're a Murphy fan, know where to go on Friday night. I would go to Cherokee High School and see this, if not just for the spectacle that it's going to be. And I'm sure it's going to be a great game too.
This will be cool to watch.
But Brandon, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about Andrews and Swain and cover a couple more games.
All right.
B&M Metals has been serving the Southeast for almost 50 years. From metal roofs and panels to gutters and metal accessories, B&M Metals is your one-stop shop for all things metal. They pride themselves on providing great service and quality at a competitive price. Give B&M Metals a call at 706-864-6068 or visit them at 6195 Highway 52 East in Murrayville or at bmmetalroofing.com. B&M Metals, protecting everything that matters to you most.
Taking a road trip is about having fun. Installing only the finest CarQuest parts from Murphy Auto Parts keeps you in the fun zone. Come by and visit our new location at 420 Peachtree Street in Murphy, where we're more than just a parts store. Trust your road trip to CarQuest Auto Parts from Murphy Auto Parts.
At Circuit World, we offer a wide selection of major appliances, name brands like Whirlpool, LG, Frigidaire, and more. Looking for furniture? Come by and browse our showroom or check out the endless aisle, a touchscreen kiosk with thousands of options. Need electronics, gaming computers, laptops, desktops, tablets? We have it all. OLED or QLED, 4K or high def. We have the selection to get you the TV of your dreams. And don't forget, at Circuit World, your credit is always good. So ask about our convenient payment options and 120 days same as cash. Come see us today at one of our 5 area locations.
Are you looking for expertly decorated gifts you'll love with your custom design or logo? Graphic Expressions in Blue Ridge is your go-to place for custom apparel, accessories, gifts, and much more. Graphic Expressions is located at 3640 East 1st Street in Blue Ridge, or give them a call at 706-946-4605. Graphic Expressions, unrivaled customer service, pure brand awesomeness.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
North Georgia Metals has been serving the Southeast for over 40 years. From metal roofs and panels to gutters and metal accessories, North Georgia Metals is your one-stop shop for all things metal. Give the team at North Georgia Metals a call at 706-276-1633 or visit them at 15544 Highway 515 South in Ellijay or on the web at northgeorgiametals.com.
Welcome back, Jake West, Brandon Stevens. This is Inside the Smoky Mountain Conference presented by Team FYN Sports. Brandon, let's talk about Swain versus Smoky Mountain. Really good game last week. Seemed like Swain had it all but put away. And then kind of on the flip side of what happened last year, Smoky Mountain came in and stole one.
Yeah, really with this football game, came right down to making a decision to go for 2 points, miss that 2-point conversion. And the last 4 minutes or so really became a sloppy performance for Swain County. This one just basically taking care of the ball, getting on down. And so, yeah, in the last few moments, this one, and really, I think, too, Smoky Mountain in this game did not have their star running back, Isaiah McNeely. A little nagging injury. Coach Brindley over there wants to hold him out, make sure he's healthy for the next couple of games. as they start to get to an increase in their competition. But so really, it was Damari Williams' show. Was they were moving it on the pass, and I think that probably Swain County started adjusting to the defense and trying to slow that down, and that's what. But at the end, I think Swain County probably was doing its job and carrying it quite well and was heading for the win, but just once again take care of the ball at the very end. We talked to Coach Holt about this game and how he felt, and the one thing for him, he also previews a little bit of the this upcoming week with North Buncombe. North Buncombe trying to find its spot on the field and get some points on the board. So that's big there. But the bigger thing here is I believe that Swain County is going to travel to North Buncombe. So chance here for them to redeem themselves, give a little edge, obviously, to Swain County on this one because it's been a tough start for North Buncombe. And just a little slip there for the Maroon Devils. Otherwise, this would have been a Swain County football game.
Andrews is going to North Buncombe. Swain is going to Franklin.
Franklin, I apologize. I got my notes back up. Oh, well, the big one there, obviously, you're going to have to control, the usual guy, Ty Handley at Franklin. So I miscued on that one. But yeah, and in this football game, this one's going to be a little tougher playing over in the pit. So I'll have to. I don't know. This one's kind of toss up. If Franklin's going to come back because that was not a good football game for them to. And I know that Coach Brooks is working on trying to correct everything they did in that Cherokee game. So, yeah, I think probably you're going to see a little more oomph, little vim coming out of the Panthers playing over Franklin.
Let's take a listen to what Coach Sherman Holt had to say about their game last week against Smoky Mountain, and then as they preview this game coming up against the Panthers.
Mountain, it was a tough ball game, 1 point loss, 21-20. Tell us about that game.
Kids played hard. Our effort was there. We played really good defensively. I thought, again, in week 2, just try to kind of got to finish our games and finish our opponents. We had the momentum going in, about 4 minutes left, and we just kind of found a way to unravel a little bit and do things that we hadn't done all game. That kind of was a big momentum shift. Special teams on the kickoff when we let them return it for a touchdown. That's a big blow to us, and it puts a little wind in Smoky Mountain sails. And they're back in it, putting it at a 6-point contest. And so, just for us, trying to learn from those mistakes, get better going into week 3. We had a lot of growth from week 1 to week 2. We want to see that growth again from week 2 to week 3, and just sharpen and hone up on our skills and understand, the situational awareness is really important. And, it'll be good to watch film today before practice and kind of highlight the good things we did and kind of, pick out a few things that we need to get better at.
The passing game from Smoky Mountain to Damari Williams, did that help exercise your defensive secondary and some of the linebackers and some of the work there? Because you won't see that necessarily in some of these other games as much.
Yeah. Well, anytime you got an opponent that has a playmaker like Damari Williams, we put a lot of focus on him during practice last week, and, we had a good game plan we felt like coming in, and we really limited him, to a certain capacity. I think he only had like 3 or 4 catches, but they were real big catches at critical times. And, hats off to Smoky Mountain. They had a kid, number 1, Jace Stillwell, that caught the game winner right there at the end that he just kind of leaked out. And, we lost him for a split second, but that's all it takes. And, we were very physical on both sides of the football. It was a real physical contest on both sides, and just proud of the way our kids played. We didn't quit. We didn't, get discouraged, we always seem to have an answer, just kind of ran out of time there at the end.
Well, Coach, talking about physicality, you're going to need that this coming week. Franklin, and you go over there into the Panther Pit. What are you expecting there?
Just traditional Franklin. They're good at what they do. They're well coached. The Brooks boys, they do a real good job having their kids ready to play. And, it's going to be a physical slugfest, just like it was this past week.
You're going to have to watch Ty Handley, too.
Yeah, and, they get downhill runners. Ty Handley, fullback, he's a good one, too. They block well up front. Just going to be one of those things where we got to be real good at assignment football. We got to tackle well, be good at block destruction, on defense, and then offensively just – finish off drives, take care of the football, control the clock. Going to be very important.
Well, Coach, good luck this week in Franklin. Go Maroon Devils.
Thank you.
Did you almost say go Blue Devils? Think you're interviewing Coach K or something?
Well, they might have been beating black and blue by that time, but no, I tried to go Maroon Devils. Yeah, this one's going to be a tough game. I hope, that they can get an edge back in. Give a little slight edge to the Franklin Panthers. Depends on how much they've worked to straighten out a few kinks that they have with their game up in Cherokee. I'm sure they have. Josh and Jay Brooks, some of the most competitive people I've known all my life, and they're not going to let you beat them. And they're stretching out to try to be 3-0, and by any means they'll try to do it. So probably a little edge to the Franklin Panthers, but I think that Swain County has every tool and every resource to be very competitive. If not, come out and if Swain County wins, it's going to be by that much.
Yeah, Massey rating says 28 Franklin, 14 Swain. So 28-14 game projected by Massey ratings. But I'm with you. I think Swain may actually match up better with this team than they did against Smoky Mountain last week because it's kind of two of the same forces colliding. But obviously Coach Holt is doing a great job with the Maroon Devils. And moving forward, I mean, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in Smoky Mountain Conference play.
I tend to think this: if it's a Franklin win, that Massey rating probably would be a little more accurate. If it's a Swain win, I'm going to say, it's like a 3-point to 1 point type margin that's coming in there. But who knows? And the way that the ball games have gone so far, and how we're looking at some predictions and thoughts. These high school football players are not exactly making liars out of us, but they're going out and stretching it out, because I think they watch our show and say Brandon Stevens is full of poo, and we're going to prove him wrong. But anyhow, I think that there's some extraordinary things that are happening, and so yeah, that's what I think how the margins will skew a little bit.
Well, what's your prediction? I've been keeping up with our predictions, and next week we're going to pull up and look at our records. But what's your prediction for this one?
Franklin's had it pretty good. 24-7 over Murphy. Then this close one with Cherokee last week. If we're on a scale like that, Swain County by 3.
I think it's just going to be too tough to go play in Franklin for the Maroon Devils. I'm going to give the edge to the Panthers, and plus I just think, like you mentioned, Coach Brooks, he's going to have his team ready to play, and they're going to be ready to bounce back after that shaky game last week. But
and I'm not just trying to be a Smoky Mountain Conference homer, or every Smoky Mountain Conference team. I mean, when you're outgunned, I mean that's one thing. But I think here that this one, almost the way that the Franklin's is kind of going on a little bit of a slide, just depending on how. But if they can retune things, but I think Swain's probably going to have a little bit of a chip on its shoulder from losing that one to Smoky Mountain. they're going to be ready to play Franklin, and they'll play well.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great game. Probably the game of the week in the Smoky Mountain Conference. But moving on to our last and final game, let's talk about Andrews. You got a chance to catch up with head coach James Phillips and also linebacker, running back Austin Martin. Let's hear what Coach James Phillips had to say, and we'll come back and then we'll listen to Austin Martin.
Coach James Phillips joins us for a few seconds. Coach, looks like you had a pretty good night against East Henderson Eagles. Anytime you can come away with the touchdowns you did and shutting them out, sounds like a pretty good football game.
Yeah, I mean, it's credit to the boys and the staff. They come out ready to go. I mean, they had a good look about them by 6 o'clock. You know, we kind of knew that they were ready to go, and they had their motors running, and you know, they wanted to get off to a fast start, the home opener, and we did. I mean, we scored 2 quick touchdowns there in the first, 3 minutes of the first quarter maybe, and they were, you know, they played really hard from there, and I mean, East was in a hole from the get-go. So the boys played well, though. They come out ready to play.
Sounded like Isaac had some sexy plays out there, a couple of picks, and one for 99-yard touchdown.
He did. Defensively, we actually had 5 interceptions. Donovan Bateman had 1, Cole Anderson had 1, Isaac had a couple. You know, Isaac had a 99-yarder that he returned for a touchdown, and I mean, the defense again has been playing really well, and we went from Hickory running 2 tight ends and wedge plays and rugby kind of football to East Henderson throwing it 35-40 times a game, so 2 completely different styles, and stretching our defense some, but they responded well Friday night.
Talk to me just a little bit more about defense, because anytime you can shut out a team, that says your defense did really well, and of course, it sounded like picking up interceptions. That's credit to.
Well, I mean, you know, I go back to like my first year here. I can remember we averaged 6 turnovers a game, and I can remember thinking, you know, not thinking, but knowing and preaching to the team that it's just backbreaking. I mean, anytime you have a turnover, just one, I mean, it's a killer. So, you know, you throw 5 interceptions on the road. I mean, for East Henderson, that was a lot to overcome. And defensively, our kids were real ball hawks the other night, and you know, they had put in those, telling how many hours studying film and routes, and I mean, it's just you know, the kids put in their work and it paid off.
Some rebuilding for the North Buncombe Blackhawks, but they were a little competitive against you know, Swain, I think, going up there. And so what are you thinking getting right? And you're going to have to take the same trip to Weaverville.
Yep. Well, watching them on film, they I mean, it's definitely noticeable that they play hard. You know, the coach has done a good job with them as far as, you know, trying to establish that. They were a spread gun team last year, and you know, we kind of had our way with them over here, but you know, their coach now has went to more of a wing tee, kind of pound it style, and his kids are playing hard, they're playing aggressive. He and I actually talked about that this morning, you know, about how to get kids play hard, and he's feeling good about his kids and his program. So, and I've told our kids this will be the hardest playing team that we've played this year, and it's on the road, and it's a 3A school. So, I mean, we're 200 kids going over there. So, you know, it'll be a tough challenge for us. We've got two tough games on the road here the next 2 weeks.
Well, Coach, we wish you the best, and as always, go Wildcats.
Go Cats. Thank you.
Like Coach Phillips' words there. Obviously, some good work. You know, you're changing diversity of the teams that you're facing. One that's, as he was saying, goes back to almost like a rugby style play to the more of a passing game, and so you're getting to see a lot of different schemes coming through. And is it testing the team? I think in this case, probably the East Henderson game has really probably built up Andrews to test its defensive secondary, and you know, it's really key when you start hearing, okay, well, Isaac Weaver made a touchdown, or Austin Martin, you know, had this. Well, but this came from defense. It didn't come from offense, and that's big. That's huge, especially with getting turnovers, pick six, so all the way through. And how many turnovers do you think that you can allow and still win a football game, Jake?
Yeah. I think,
One, two max?
yeah, 2 max.
Well, when East Henderson had 6, it was just basically we're watching this one to get through where it's a formality, and this was a really big game, I think, for Andrews to test all facets of it, and it's almost like a practice around the way that when I started after I got through talking with Coach Phillips and Austin Martin, this was really good. Now go up and North Buncombe will be yet another team to set up with. In the earlier parts, I think that who's our first team that went? It was Swain County. The Vernon Devils went up and faced them, and really that game in the beginning of it, you and I were watching it under lightning delay out at Murphy, and North Buncombe really not fumbled several plays, had a very slow start to the tempo, and I think probably this is what you're going to run into a little bit more. This could be a big runaway game for Andrews, and probably not only for Isaac and Austin and Donovan and Cam Rattler and all the other folks out there. Big game to be to had here, assuming the way things will go.
Yeah, I agree. I think just one of the things to pay attention to heading into this North Buncombe game, like Coach mentioned, much more physical team than last year. They lost 21-0. They lost 14-0. Well, that's not a lot of points to be given up, especially last week against, I think, Madison, 14-0 loss. Mm-hmm. I think North Buncombe's biggest problem is obviously just finding the end zone. But this will be a good, not necessarily a good test athletically for Andrews, but it'll be good for them to get back to kind of what they're used to and what they'll see in the Smoky Mountain Conference with the wing tee that North Buncombe's going to be running. But nonetheless, Andrews by whatever they want in this one against North Buncombe.
Well, you're right. Madison County was the last opponent, of course. Madison County, not exactly the strongest team. Been lifelong friends with their head coach, Jamie Eckstein. This is good. This is probably after a 55-7 loss to Tuscola. Tuscola a little bit stronger, but and then you come in and you're squeaking out a 14-0 win. So the competition didn't really go up for North Buncombe there, but so maybe that's not exactly the best comparison, but I think that North Buncombe probably is getting a little bit better, or at least a couple games into you've had some real game time work. So we'll see. I think that this is not going to be a good night for the Blackhawks. Andrews is going to. Well, I don't want to say too much. I'm not trying to be pejorative in the way that analyzing a football game, high school football game, but this one, just hands down Andrews, and 28 points at least.
Let's we got just about 2 minutes left here. Give me someone this week from one of these teams that's going to have a breakout night. You've mentioned Chase Calhoun's a few times when we were talking about Cherokee. Just anybody from anyone in the conference or even Franklin who's going to go for a big night on Friday night.
There are opportunities here, Jake. You could point to Gabe Lillard. If Swain County wins, it'll definitely be a big breakout night for him, because if they're to do anything, then it's going to be probably on his back a little bit. Otherwise, in this one, well, there's nobody from Murphy because it's an open date, so Murphy's guaranteed not to lose this week. And and you can always say like a Cutler Adams or or Isaac Weaver, the usual suspects here. But I say if this one comes in, I'll just leave it this way on the table. Swain County wins this football game, then I think that it's a Gabe Lillard night, possibly. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with I'm going to go with Avery Leatherwood from Hayesville. He had 5 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown against Georgia Force. And he's coming back from that elbow injury, missed all of last year. I'm just waiting on him to put up 100-plus yards through the air on Friday night against North Georgia Falcons.
You changed my mind. I like that. I like that call, and I could see that. If I remember correctly, a baseball player.
Yeah,
got to watch
catcher.
him quite a bit. Catcher, hoss of a kid. So yeah, or young man. So yeah, I could go that way too. And just forgetting Leatherwood out there, but yeah, we'll go that way.
All right, Brandon. Well, I appreciate you joining me. Everybody, there's a lot of good games going on this week. Our FYN TV is going to be in Georgia, so nothing up the North Carolina alley, but still some good games. Cherokee and Choctaw, Swain and Franklin. Those are good games close by. Robbinsville hosting Mountain Heritage. Probably not going to be the best game, but you can get a good read on Robbinsville and go watch the Cutler Adams show if you'd like. But we want to thank you for watching, and we'll be back live next week on Thursday night.
We'll do it. I'll be here.
B&M Metals has been serving the Southeast for almost 50 years. From metal roofs and panels to gutters and metal accessories, B&M Metals is your one-stop shop for all things metal. They pride themselves on providing great service and quality at a competitive price. Give B&M Metals a call at 706-864-6068 or visit them at 6195 Highway 52 East in Murrayville or at bmmetalroofing.com. B&M Metals, protecting everything that matters to you most.
Taking a road trip is about having fun. Installing only the finest CarQuest parts from Murphy Auto Parts keeps you in the fun zone. Come by and visit our new location at 420 Peachtree Street in Murphy, where we're more than just a parts store. Trust your road trip to CarQuest Auto Parts from Murphy Auto Parts.
At Circuit World, we offer a wide selection of major appliances, name brands like Whirlpool, LG, Frigidaire, and more. Looking for furniture? Come by and browse our showroom or check out the Endless Aisle, a touchscreen kiosk with thousands of options. Need electronics, gaming computers, laptops, desktops, tablets? We have it all. OLED or QLED, 4K or high def. We have the selection to get you the TV of your dreams. And don't forget, at Circuit World, your credit is always good. So ask about our convenient payment options and 120 days, same as cash. Come see us today at one of our 5 area locations.
Are you looking for expertly decorated gifts you'll love with your custom design or logo? Graphic Expressions in Blue Ridge is your go-to place for custom apparel, accessories, gifts, and much more. Graphic Expressions is located at 3640 East 1st Street in Blue Ridge, or give them a call at 706-946-4605. Graphic Expressions, unrivaled customer service, pure brand awesomeness.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service